We've seen a slight drop in inflation rate. What it means is that the rate at which prices increases in based on an index, which is a CPI, seems that yes, there is growth. So let me quote the government statistician. He used three main words. He says this rate is lower than before, slower than we expected, and then also stable. These were the three words he used. I would like to agree with him that yes, indeed, this is what is really happening in Ghana. What probably has been the discussion is that when do we see this reflecting in, as you were discussing with the former deputy minister, when do we see this happening, having an impact on our interest rate? So in economics and finance, there is something we call time lag. It takes time for metrics like this to reflect generally in prices, or also in interest rates. So that's what we term as the recognition time lag, decision time lag, implementation time lag, and impacts time lag.
Right.
So the Bank of Ghana meets every quarter. So until they meet again, it will take some time for us to see that it's being reflected. However, you will see that the January inflation rate has already been reflected in the interest rate. That's they call it the Ghana reference rate. If you notice, it's dropped up to around 11%, which was roughly around 15%. And when it moved to 3.8, it's come down. So anticipation is that in the next quarter, somewhere in March, where the central bank will meet again, we should expect interest rates to drop.
Right.
So in terms of, if you do the math based on the interest rate we have, Ghana may be among the countries with one of the highest rates in terms of real interest rate. That is normally if you have your nominal interest rate, you subtract your inflation, your CPI or your inflation rate, our figure is very high. So roughly the central bank's monetary policy rate, we know, if you take our 3.3 from it, we're still very high. This is where the problem is. And then you must also see that there is also some disconnection. Okay, let me call it an arbitrage situation between the TB rate, which is hovering 6%, 7%, and then the monetary policy rate, which is also a little bit different. So we see a mismatch, and all these with time must have to be aligned.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the central bank is looking at this, knowing how inflation is behaving. You must find a way to align it. So this may force central bank in the next NPR meeting, MPC meeting, to also come and reduce interest rates.